the energy firm you worked for,
Mm-hmm.
while you were there, you were involved with getting a contract with the Iraqi province, Kurdistan, for an exploration deal. Your company was by no means the only one. There were many companies here and around the world that got similar contracts, small and mid-sized firms. Those have not been recognized, as you know, by the central Iraqi government, and the State Department has, at least subsequently, become somewhat skeptical of them. Do you still think that deal is good for Iraq, good for America?
First of all, as far as Aspect Energy's agreement with Kurdistan, I'm not a spokesman for Aspect Energy, and I can't comment on what is good for them and so on. My visit there was not to secure any kind of agreements or deals. I didn't propose any. I didn't accept any. I was not a part of any discussion on agreements with Kurdistan. My purpose in that mission was to introduce my company to leaders in the Kurdish region, and others had been made already here, but to familiarize the Kurdish leaders with Aspect Energy of Colorado, and to essentially gather as much information as I could for my company on which to make subsequent decisions. They made subsequent decisions after that visit, which entailed in a different delegation going there for the purposes of securing an agreement with the Kurdish government. I was not part of that. That was not my job. It's not what I was asked to do.
You were still with the company.
Oh, I still work there, absolutely, yeah. But your question was that I helped put an agreement together with the Kurdish government, and I want to clarify that my help in doing that, it was informing other executives that in my company that utilized information that I gathered and contacts that I had reinforced, so that a different delegation, different group of executives with the company went and secured that agreement. Is it good for the country? Let me just speak generally rather than to that specific contract, because generally speaking, I do believe that more economic activity in Iraq is good for the country. The United States secured victory in Kurdistan many years ago. And from my standpoint, there have been no U.S. casualties in Kurdistan. The Kurdish region is very pro-American. It is attracting foreign capital investments, not just in energy, but telecommunications, transportation, even tourism. The Kurdish region is culturally distinct from the rest of Iraq. However, it is and that has allowed it to maintain its own security and provide its own security forces that have been actually quite proficient. You rarely hear of terrorist activities in a Kurdish region of Iraq. In many ways, the aggressive nature, and these are the people that Saddam gassed, by the way. They'd been living up in the mountains for 10 years, and from that, it's important to mention that because they are more hungry for prosperity since they've been denied it much longer than anyone else in Iraq. And they are more impatient, I suppose, when it comes to securing freedom for their children and growing an economy and getting out from under, living in caves up in the mountains. And from that standpoint, it has actually been, in my belief, the pragmatic leadership and desire of the Kurdish region that is pushing a quicker level of success and a quicker reconciliation in the rest of Iraq. So to stand back and take a big picture. So
at the end of the day, you think the central government is going to reach some comprehensive oil deal that will recognize these contracts?
Yeah, it's probably going to take another election, though.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to, yeah, it'll take another election. And that's coming. What's the next election scheduled there? I think in just a couple months. So it'll take another election in which the Sunnis intend to fully participate. And so that's probably what it will take. But I do believe that Iraq will move forward with a national mineral law. And they were, and in fact, those who, for the sake of this election, have suggested that I have played some role, or Aspect has played some role in setting back the progress in Iraq, they are just wrong. If anything, Aspect has had nothing to do with the pace, but the Kurds themselves, given their the Kurds and the Kurdish government themselves, given their leadership and the way they have proceeded on this matter, are actually pushing the rest of the country to act quicker and to come to a resolution much faster. And I'd also point out that in the Kurdish region, you've got virtually every nation, independently through private companies. I mean, the Norwegians are there, the Canadians are there, the Germans are there, the Chinese are there, the Turks have a substantial investment. The United States investment there from American companies is tiny. So the notion that an American investment is somehow going to make the difference is just unrealistic. But beyond that, the national government just recently signed its first agreement with an international firm for oil production in the rest of Iraq, and it happens to be Chinese. And Americans need to sit back, anyone who criticizes me needs to sit back and ask, again, for the sake of politics, needs to sit back and ask themselves whether they think our soldiers are better served by a heavy Chinese influence throughout Iraq than a multinational presence anywhere in the country. And I think that is just an indefensible position on their part.